going on out there that we still have a carbon budget. Not. We have already spent our carbon budget. But the politicians have this, they have this routine down of kicking the can down the road, and they do that by this notion of a carbon budget, and they bolster that with information, research, a report from the IPCC that always seems to say we still have a few more years. We have no more carbon budget. I want to dispense with that illusion. We are borrowing from future generations at this point. We are making their lives much more difficult.
Thunberg. I am 15 years old and I'm from Sweden. I speak on behalf of Climate Justice Now. Many people say that Sweden is just a small country and it doesn't matter what we do. But I've learned that you are never too small to make a difference. And if a few children can get headlines all over the world just by not going to school, then imagine what we could all do together if we really wanted to. But to do that, we have to speak clearly, no matter how uncomfortable that may be. You only speak of green, eternal economic growth because you are too scared of being unpopular. You only talk about moving forward with the same bad ideas that got us into this mess, even when the only sensible thing to do is pull the emergency brake. You are not mature enough to tell it like it is. Even that burden you leave to us children. But I don't care about being popular. I care about climate justice and a living planet. Our civilization is being sacrificed for the opportunity of a very small number of people to continue making enormous amounts of money. Our biosphere is being sacrificed so that rich people in countries like mine can live in luxury. It is the sufferings of the many which pay for the luxuries of the few. The year 2078, I will celebrate my 75th birthday. If I have children, maybe they will spend that day with me. Maybe they will ask me about you. Maybe they will ask why you didn't do anything while there still was time to act. You say you love your children above all else, and yet you are stealing their future in front of their very eyes. Until you start focusing on what needs to be done rather than what is politically possible, there is no hope. We cannot solve a crisis without treating it as a crisis. We need to keep the fossil fuels in the ground, and we need to focus on equity. And if solutions within this system are so impossible to find, then maybe we should change the system itself. We have not come here to beg world leaders to care. You have ignored us in the past and you will ignore us again. We have run out of excuses and we are running out of time. We have come here to let you know that change is coming, whether you like it or not. The real power belongs to the people. Thank you.
Every Friday, Alexandria Villaseñor walks to the front of the United Nations and chooses this bench over 7th grade. It is a one-girl strike, and it started months ago after a trip to California brought her frightfully close to a paradise in flames.
Because the air quality was the worst in the world, and I have asthma, we had to even roll up wet towels and put them under windows.
It was so scary, her family sent her back to New York early, where she began researching how hotter fires, longer droughts, bigger storms are all being baked into her future, thanks to our relentless reliance on fossil fuel.
A sea of signs in Columbus Circle. Thousands of New York City students sitting out a day of school. Chopper 2 over the scene as they marched from 59th Street to the American Museum of Natural History.
Our government has not taken action on climate change, and change needs to be taken. So action needs to be taken.
The youth climate strikes popping up from the steps of City Hall to Columbia University.
It's really empowering. This should not be a partisan issue. We're getting so wrapped up in the politics of climate change.
100,000 students nationwide and 100 countries are participating, including this rally in Rome. Participants calling for, among other things, 100% renewable energy.
Climate justice and social justice are really close, are really connected, and we're fighting against climate change, but we're certainly fighting for a common future and for a just society and the society we want as young.
Here today, just making our voices heard for our future, and that we want strong action against climate change. Because it gets people engaged, it gets our voices heard, and it makes people notice that we're here and that we need to make strong.
Alyssa Wiseman, you're 16 years old. Alyssa, tell me why this issue, not other causes.
I am so concerned about this issue because while there are many other very pressing issues in our world and in our modern political climate, without a livable planet, all of those issues will be obsolete. First, we need a planet that we can live on and thrive on, and then we can start bettering society.
That I should study to become a climate scientist so that I can solve the climate crisis. But the climate crisis has already been solved. We already have all the facts and solutions. All we have to do is to wake up and change. And why should I be studying for a future that soon will be no more, when no one is doing anything whatsoever to save that future? And what is the point of learning facts within the school system, when the most important facts given by the finest science of that same school system clearly means nothing to our politicians and our society? Some people say that Sweden is just a small country and that it doesn't matter what we do. But I think that if a few children can get headlines all over the world just by not going to school for a few weeks, imagine what we could all do together if we wanted to. Now we're almost at the end of my talk. And this is where people usually start talking about hope. Solar panels, wind power, circular economy, and so on. But I'm not going to do that. We've had 30 years of pep talking and selling positive ideas. And I'm sorry, but it doesn't work. Because if it would have, the emissions would have gone down by now. They haven't. And yes, we do need hope. Of course we do. But the one thing we need more than hope is action.